Good morning. Welcome. Give ourselves this precious moment to start because I wouldn't like to keep the ones who are here awaiting. So let me begin by saying namaste. Namaste to every one of you. I'm Sashi and I am one of the hosts for today. And I'm very grateful that you have joined us this morning or afternoon or night for this fourth and final session on integrated approach to mission effectiveness. With the final module on the enablers, that's partnership, co-responsibility, and formation. Interesting, isn't it? It's been an adventurous journey, unpacking the position papers with Teresa and Winifred, stepping to new ways of advocacy in the digital space, and surely combating the pandemic with a pandemic of love. I'm sure you agree. Early this year, we commenced this series, having very inspiring sessions led by Teresa Simmons and the Integration Committee. We had the first session in February, Introduction to Integral Ecology, followed by the Theory of Change in April, challenging us to think change, work change, and dream change. And the most recent one on spirituality in the month of July, a session which surely challenged our way of being and doing. Today, we may have come with our glasses empty, half filled, full, but every one of these sessions have made us reflect on our personal integration and moved us a little beyond our comfort zone. I say thank you, Lord, for disturbing us. This session comes at a very appropriate juncture as we set to step into the deep, drawn by love, passionate for justice, and prepare ourselves for the phase of contemplation and discernment. Action confidence is the courage and capacity to step into something new and bring it into being. And that's exactly what the congregational chapter is asking all of us, to lay down the path we are walking into the future. So I just would like us to be present here. Here are a few invitations along the way. We expect this session to be about 90 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. And we invite you here to be present with soft eyes, listen with your head, heart, and ears. Be curious, do connect, enjoy the opportunity to chat and clarify, and above all, be present. What lies ahead? Are you curious? Well, we do have a breakout room or two and a Mentimeter. I'm sure so many of us know to use it already. Just do remember that when we are in the breakout room, we do hold the space and listen to the voices and keep checking on the chat to make sure that you click on the connection to the Mentimeter and make your voice heard. What's there ahead? Wow, so much. We will celebrate the beautiful time of coming together as one large Good Shepherd family. We will delve into the journey of partnership and explore partnership and formation as enablers for integration. We will spend some personal and group time in discernment. we will co-sense and situate ourselves as individuals and as a collective unit, the region, and the congregation. With regards to this document, Zeal calls us to respond. And yes, we hope to, at the end of the session, to step up and respond to the pressing needs of the time a little better than we were at the beginning. So let us prepare ourselves to come into this space. I invite Katharina to prepare our minds and hearts for this session. Katharina?
Thank you, Sasi. Dear friends, let us center ourselves to be present before God before we begin the session. Sasi, the music is not on. Let us end by taking one breath of confidence, lying down the path of our walking, embracing the future. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Katrina. It's a very beautiful way of bringing us together and really being present. Thank you. I request all of us to sit back, enjoy and appreciate the beautiful journey which has brought all of us together in the same space. Jenry will lead us through this part of the session. Welcome, Jenry. Over to you.
Can't hear.
Thank you, Sashi, and good morning and good afternoon to all of you. It's lovely to see all of you here today to have a chat about and unpack this theme of partnership, co-responsibility and formation, the enablers of spirituality, justice and good ministry practices. And when I look at the numbers who are in the room today, it fills me with confidence, but also, it shows me that this is an important topic for you all that you would like to know more about or to unpack a little bit more for yourselves. They're also important topics, both partnership and formation, because they inform some of the main themes to be discussed in the chapter this year, and also influence the development of new governance structures for Global Shepherd going forward. So you would have heard in many of the gatherings and your own gatherings, the conversations around partnership and formation are really featuring at the moment as we go forward. So I'd like to begin our session together by reflecting on the role that both of them, partnership, well, in this case, I'm going to speak about partnership and co-responsibility and what role they play in sustaining the viability of our mission. Each of us are at very different stages across the region with respect to the full participation of partners in our mission. Globally, we are all going through a very devastating time with the spread of COVID. It has brought new challenges and opportunities, and there has perhaps never been a more important time for us to bring together the energies of all those who have a passion for the Good Shepherd mission. Our most recent reflection on partnership for mission was shared during the chapter preparation documents and videos. The parable of Ubuntu was used to help us open our minds, our hearts and our wills to embrace more fully partnership for mission. You may remember the video of mission partners, sisters and lay, together, dancing and celebrating through the music and song of Ubuntu. Let's take a pause for a moment and just remind ourselves what this story is about. So while I read the story, I invite you just to listen. If it helps you to maybe close your eyes, if you can hear, some people can hear better if they close their eyes, or you can read on the screen with me as we go. But as we're reflecting on this, see what you think is the main message of this story, this parable. An African anthropologist was visiting with a local community when he proposed a game to the children in the village. He asked the children to line up and told them that the first person to make it to the tree, standing some 25 meters away, would win the basket of sweets that he had hung from the branches. The children all lined up, bouncing on their toes, itching to run. When he said go, instead of each one racing off on their own, the children held each other's hands and ran together. Since they all arrived at the tree at once, they shared the treats that were waiting for them. When the visitor asked why did they do this, held hands and run together, they replied, "How can one of us be happy when the others are sad?" This is Ubuntu. I am because we are. This story or parable talks about a universal bond of sharing that connects us all. I cannot succeed unless we all do. It's also a reflection of our value of justice, where we stand in solidarity with each other. At Good Shepherd, what lessens one of us lessens all of us, or what strengthens one of us strengthens all of us. But this way of being in the Ubuntu story requires from each of us a personal mind shift from ego to eco, from I to we. An attitude which reflects that my success is less important than the success of the group, our shared success, the success of our mission. Ubuntu shows us how we stand together to move forward courageously, to respond in new ways to emerging issues in the mission that are common for us all. Let's take a pause for a moment. I'm going to invite you just to think for yourselves, when you hear this story, what is the message about partnership in Good Shepherd? Or what can we learn from the story about partnership in Good Shepherd? If you have a pen and paper there, I invite you just to write a few of your thoughts. And we're just going to pause so you have time to do that. For you, what is the message? What is the message for us at Good Shepherd about how partnership can be when you hear that story? Sashi, maybe put the story back up in case people need to see the words while they're thinking and writing. When you are ready, could you open the chat box, click the chat box, and just write into the chat box your thoughts about the message from this story for us at Good Shepherd. Just in the chat box. Thank you. Together we are connected. We instead of I, togetherness. Lots of great responses
Walking
coming into the chat
together.
room. Yes.
Unity, strength, solidarity. We are connected.
No one should be left behind.
Yeah. Together, hand in hand. I instead of
Oneness.
we.
Your joy is my joy.
Inclusiveness.
Togetherness. Wow, incredible. Hold hands and run together. I love that.
Shared responsibility gives shared joy. Wow, that's nice.
Here we have one. We have to be together in this mission, just like the children together, holding hands, partners and co-responsible. Being together, complementing each other. Like a puzzle, each of us has a part. Very true.
Oh, wow, there's so much of wisdom in this. Together we celebrate unity. We share the abundance, joy. So yes, so true. Abundance of graces and blessings. Yes.
The word together keeps coming up all the time.
Yes. Don't
Very
you agree?
powerful. One goal, one mission.
How can one of us be happy when others are sad? Oh, so true, so beautiful.
So there are so many wonderful messages coming through, so many reflections, really expressing this idea of working together as one. Spirituality unites us, working and journeying together. So inspiring. Everyone is a contributor in making our life meaningful. Thank you so much for the sharing.
I love this beautiful one from Arlene, which says there are 3 U's in the Ubuntu. Oh, so sweet. That's such a lovely observation. Thank you, Arlene. Yeah, when we go
Fantastic.
together, we can go far. Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much.
So if we were to have done a word noodle, I think that's what it's called, whatever that thing is called, I think there are some words here that would come up repeatedly. Together, inclusive, solidarity. There are so many repeated messages, and it's just wonderful to see from all of you capturing this this really beautiful, clear message. And you know, this idea of working together that you're all talking about in partnership with all those who are called to our mission, you know, this Ubuntu is a new experience, a new reflection for us. But actually, the experience in Good Shepherd goes back a long way. This is not a new idea. It goes back to the very beginning of Good Shepherd. It's part of our DNA, and it's been like a gold thread running through our work and our living for centuries. So we've always had this element of working together in partnership right throughout the Good Shepherd experience. Let's reflect for a moment on how the call to Good Shepherd mission can be expressed by sisters and lay people alike.
My name is Magdalene Lamy. Almost 400 years ago, I reached out to Father John Wood and asked, what can we do for the women and children who are homeless, hungry, living on the streets? He agreed we should do something. So together we set up a refuge, and then the Order of Our Lady of Charity of the Refuge.
My name is Madame Dandinier. I am inspired by Mary Euphrasia and the work of the sisters. I want to contribute in any way I can. She confides in and trusts me. And together, we make plans for growing the mission.
My name is Count de Neuville. I only ever wanted the dedicated work of Mary Euphrasia and the sisters to succeed. I was prepared to use all of my inheritance to ensure that there was continuity of care to women and girls who found themselves in tragic circumstances.
My name is Mary Euphrasia. I'm so grateful to the support of my friends, Madame Dandine and Count de Noville, without whom we will not have been able to reach out to so many who need our care. It is important to remember that we all work for the mission. Those who work in the garden, in the bakery, in the linen room, or who are busy about other things, never mind where, are all working for the good of others.
My name is Michelle. I was present at the Congregational Chapter in 2003 when 2 lay people from Asia Pacific attended for the very first time. It was very clear at that chapter that we were being called to be inclusive of lay partners in the mission. The direction statement from this chapter said, "We recognize that the laity who live the Good Shepherd charism are a gift for the congregation, the church, and the world. In partnership with them, find new ways with reciprocal confidence. Find the means to share information and mutually enrich each other."
My name is Sashi, and I was present at the very first ever joint gathering in Genting Highlands, Malaysia in 2008. 40 sisters and 40 lay partners attended, and the theme of that gathering was, "In partnership, we identify with Good Shepherd spirit from whichever place we come, and we recognize that in each other." At that conference, we realized that we are all partners in mission. We are in this together for the mission.
My name is Gendry, and I have been a partner in mission for over 45 years. Over the past 20 years, I have attended numerous Asia Pacific regional meetings and gatherings. I was a member of the Asia Pacific Partnership team, and now I'm on the integration team.
My name is Teresa. I was present at the 2015 chapter where a direction was issued to the congregational leadership team to establish an international working group to pursue the full engagement of lay partners in mission.
My name is Shamindani. Through the ICAS this year, we prepared ourselves for the upcoming congregational chapter. We heard the voices of sisters and lay partners across the region. There was a strong emphasis on being inclusive and moving towards the full participation and inclusion of partners in mission. A new governance model may also include mission partners in committees and leadership roles. It feels to me that regardless of how many sisters we have, we need to be open to working collaboratively with mission partners into the future.
So here we have heard many opportunities and times where we have embraced partnership and we have talked about it and we've met about it and we have motivated ourselves to take steps towards it. We'd like to now ask ourselves a personal question. And the question I ask you to reflect on is, how ready am I to embrace co-responsibility and partnership for mission? We've heard about it on a more sort of global scale, but how are you? How ready am I to embrace co-responsibility and partnership? You may already have done so, or you may not be fully engaged, but it's about asking yourself about your readiness. So Sashi's going to put into the chat room a Mentimeter, and to answer this question, you just need to move the little dot along the line. It goes from 0 to 6, and somewhere along that line, it will give you an indication of where you are. And when you find the one that's right for you, you just click that spot and send it forward. Thanks, Sashi.
Yeah, we have the links posted. Thanks, Paula. The question is as well there. I request you to access the Mentimeter.
So just click on the link.
We can see. Oh. So let's see, there's a scale on a 5, not at all ready, struggling with the idea, recognizing the need, letting go mindsets, absolutely ready. And I'm sure all of us, we have got about 65 responses. We are 140 over, and in this 75 responses seems to average out at 4.3. That would be letting go mindsets and almost ready. Here, Gendry, over to you to take it forward.
Thank you. I'm not probably seeing it the same way. I'm not sure if I'm seeing the Mentimeter the same way as you are. So if you get any more information, but we think we're ready to, it's about the mindset shift. Is it, Sashi? Is that where we are mostly?
Yeah, we are in that space. About 4.3 would average out to say that we are in the mindsets. See, there I can see that 13 of us are in the middle space, recognizing the need. 22 of us are in the space of letting go mindsets, and 47 of us are absolutely ready. Wow. Wow, that is a real number. So it would average out to about 4.3. So let's say between letting go mindsets to be absolutely ready. And I do see that some of us are not really able to access the Mentimeter, but we have responses on the chat as well, Gendry.
Ah, great. I'll have a look. Yes, so someone says, I have been working with partners in mission while I was in Senegal, West Africa. Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. Well, you know, this is a wonderful sort of moment where we can see where we are, and we've moved so much along that continuum. And we're ready for those mindsets our mindset is ready to accept and to learn more. And I'm going to hand over shortly to Sashi, who is going to take you to the next stage. But I just want to say that when we refer to the committee there in those reflections, the committee at the last chapter was set up to explore this full participation of partners in mission. And they've given us a beautiful map to guide us for progressing this inclusion. There's a beautiful guide through the Zeal calls us to respond. So for those of you where you're saying your mindsets, you're ready to go, there's some beautiful opportunities there to take it to the next level. And I'm going to hand over to Sashi now, and she'll explore that with you. Thanks, Sashi. And thank you all for sharing. It was very meaningful. Thank you.
Thanks, Gendry. Thank you. That was an adventurous trip indeed to know. To have our voices of Mary Euphrasia and Madeleine Lamy actually coming into our midst. Thank you. And the response on the Mentimeter is extremely comforting and very hopeful for all of us. As a multi-generational congregation, on the threshold of the 31st congregational chapter, which has challenged all of us to step into the deep for radical transformation, I salute the courage and zeal which drives all of us with a single big heart, all fired up for the mission. At this juncture, I'd like to draw our attention to the highlights of the life seekers who have been actively engaging our hearts and minds, exploring together new ways to the future. I ask myself and all of us, what future are St. John Eudes and St. Mary Euphrasia asking us to create at this time? What strikes me very strongly is the realization that the entire congregation is keen to move towards the full engagement of partners in mission at various levels. I would like to quote, when politics polarize, when structures and systems have served well in the past, no longer speak to the global reality, really, things need to be different. There is a strong support for mission to be placed at the center of any image of future organization. The mission being mission-centric rather than sister-centric. Some role in governance by lay mission partners to be occupying positions of delegated authority in relation to sister mission partners. I'd like to rewind the clock to the 2008 gathering. When I first met many of my friends for the first time on a platform that cemented and nurtured so many relationships. Thanks, Teresa. Thanks, Gendry. Let me give you a 5. Let's give each other a 5. Come on, that was cool. I'm sure so many of us were there. Let's just place a 5 here. Yeah. High 5 indeed. Haven't we traveled a long way? And the circle grew and enlarged slowly and gradually. And now I would like you to just turn your screen on the gallery view and skim through the number of lay partners in mission sitting on the same screen, perhaps sitting in the same room next to you, rubbing shoulder to shoulder. Okay, let us be observant of the social distancing. But Zoom has made all those distances closed. Look around. What is stirring in you as you see these many partners in mission on the screen today? Use the chat box, use the reaction button. How do you feel? Yeah, lovely. I can see that. Many responses. Yes. Yeah, hearts. Yes, lovely, isn't it? Nice. Lovely. Nice to see how nice. We have some responses on the chat. So true, no? Nice, isn't it? We feel so good. Zeal calls us to respond is a rich document. It's not been an easy journey for all of us, especially this marriage, which is cross-cultural. We have different challenges and joyous moments. But this document, Zeal Calls Us to Respond, is a lovely document which is actually propelling us to engage in conversations. And I place my immense gratitude to the international working team, including a group of sisters and lay who actually created a beautiful roadmap for us to engage in conversations. Many thanks to the team, and I'm delighted to say that Jason from our Southwest India unit is part of them. I'm so happy to say that. This lovely document has got a beautiful direction for us to engage in partnership. Shared experience of our mission brings us together. And we understand that vocation for mission is to accept co-responsibility. The principles hold the charism, values, and heritage at the heart of the mission. And above all, partnership is mission-centric and value-based. Very beautiful, very rich. Here are some beautiful guidelines. We invite and engage all who share the life-giving beliefs through our mission and values. Just think of yourself coming into the space. We are moving together. We move together on a transformational journey. Expand an evolving understanding of our mission relevant to our times. Relevant to our times. Nice. And we provide adequate orientation and leadership needed to equip people to work in a partnership model. As you read the guidelines, check, are they comfortable? Some of the words which came out from your Ubuntu story on inclusion and transparency, are they here? We work from the core values in a consistent way and hold ourselves accountable. Accountability. And I love this. We learn and struggle together. We heard that in the story. And tend to the health of relationships. And we see conflict and tension as opportunities for growth and creativity. I'm sure some of us are having an action replay in our minds when we have seen this happening. Well, this is the beautiful continuum, very well captured. Where am I on this continuum? You can take a picture of this if you want to, so that you can keep reflecting on this. I will lead you to every single part of this continuum in parts. And I invite you to ponder, journal, and check yourself. It's a very personal check-in. Where am I on this continuum? Am I in the stage where sisters are still in charge? Volunteers follow instructions. Paid employees are not considered as committed as sisters, where the benefactors are just donors. Sisters feel that they possess the charism. And more sisters would mean we wouldn't need partners in mission. Are we here Am I there? Or am I moving towards engaging partners in mission with complete vulnerability to our cultural, racial differences? So many of us in Asia come from a very patriarchal culture. Am I consciously including of people with talent and expertise? Are the benefactors board members or advisors in the mission? Yes, I am. My employees are supporters of the mission. Do I recognize that? And we've actually come to the table and discuss the lack of religious vocations. This is a clear acknowledgement that there is movement. Where am I in this continuum? Or am I in this middle space? This is what we saw from what was shared. Feeling barriers that block moving us forward. It's a very good space. Fears, worries. Attempts to move backwards. But sometimes mistakes by partners in mission taken as inability to partner. Are we threatened by the loss of control or power? Or sometimes are the partners very powerful? Are they worrying us? Where am I in this continuum? Or am I here? Sisters and partners are accepted as equal. There's trust. We work side by side. We take instructions. We are happy to work together. Staff and volunteers, benefactors are included in all meetings and events. And there is a humble recognition that partners in mission are doing greater work than just sisters alone. Now, above all, there is joint involvement in formation and mission orientation. Am I here? Some of us may be very happy to claim that we are here. Some of us on this journey would love to come here one day. Recognizing all as committed to co-responsibility for mission. That joint formation is based on mission and values. Inclusion in decision-making. And no longer is it a charity-based, but it is a very rights-based inclusive approach. Leadership roles at all levels. Some of us may still be in this space, but within this space, we may be struggling to move from one point to another. I've come this far, but still there are some things I find difficult to let go. It could be so. This is the time for us to examine ourselves. Where am I on this continuum? I'm very delighted and honored to have some voices who wish to be very brave and share with us where she is in this continuum. First of all, I take this as a privilege to say I salute you for being courageous. So Jane, are you here?
Yes, Sashi.
I am
Hi,
here.
Jane. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share in
So,
my
Jane,
reflection
hi.
here today. Yes.
Jane, I just would like to invite you, as a sister under 50. Okay, I'm taking this as a very landmark age. We are happy to ask you this question. What is your
Sure.
perspective of full engagement of lay partners for mission effectiveness? What stirs in your heart when you think of this? First of all, Jane, we are very happy that you have come here in all vulnerability to share where you are in this continuum. So over to you, Jane. Are you ready?
Yes. Thank you, Sashi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to share here. So my perspective of partners in mission or mission effectiveness, either with full engagement or part-time, I first see the person, a person who comes to share their passion with us for mission. Having partners is about bringing their knowledge, their experiences, their love and commitment for mission growth for the near and the long term. This is how I really see the partners. For truth, mission partners motivate me to advance the mission. I feel challenged sometimes in this because I am so fixed with a certain responsibilities. My way of doing, my way of being, sometimes I couldn't go beyond the demands. Especially when I think of St. John's here in this moment, the time he encountered meddling Lamy, he immediately responded and opened the house of refuge. As an Oratorian priest, his mission is for the work of formation and preaching, not saving the lives of women and girls. But I see St. John's, his work of formation and preaching goes to another setting that dignifying women and girls who most need love and good deeds of his time. He extended and reached beyond the needs to show the merciful love of God. So in the continuum, where am I? So I reflected myself, and I like the fourth column. I am going to full commitment to the partnership for mission. When I reflect deeply on this, I am not yet there. So, but I'm not in the middle space too. So this is about, I questioned myself. If I am not in that pace, where am I? So this is the time, this is the moment I brought myself back to the middle space, imagining myself that I am a person who has a lot of fears and worries and facing somebody who has a lot of controls and power. And how am I in that space? So this spoke to me in questions. The questions are, the first one is, and also I also feel responsible for this also. So the first question is, how much do I love the mission? Second one, how happy am I to see the different fruits in the mission? And the third one is, as daughter of St. John's, as daughter or sons of St. John's, how do I make visible the uniqueness of our mission in our time? It is a great challenge for me. In his time, he did it. In my time, where am I? And how am I going to do it? So answering to these three questions, I hear one reminder, and I would like to echo the words of St. Mary Euphrasia in St. John's in that. Whatever I do, whatever I say, we are doing it for the greater glory of God. So in the mission, this is our goal, and we are journeying together to this goal. Thank you. Thank you, Sashi.
Thanks, Jane. Thank you so much. Really, we know that this one voice of a young sister from East Asia who is under 50, I would like to remark that, this is a multi-generational congregation. We are moving and passing the torch. I'm very grateful for your response. Thank you so much, Jane. And I invite all of us who are here to just share your reactions. Be free, use the chat box. It can be very energizing when we see a response or a reaction. Jane says, oh yes, I'm comforted. I'm not alone. Thanks, Jane. Thank you so much. And on that note, I would like to invite yet another voice, the voice of a lay mission partner, to share her experience of partnership for mission in the unit of Malaysia, Singapore. Cecilia, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
How are you? How are
I'm not
you,
sure.
Cecilia? Welcome. So, Cecilia, I'm going to ask you, I hope I won't be putting you on a spot, but first of all, our immense gratitude that you have joined us here to share your voice. And we invite you to share, where are you thinking that you are in this continuum? What has your journey of partnership been for yourself and the relationship with the sisters and lay who have been engaged in the mission over this long journey?
All right, I'm going to share my perspective and experience of the shifts that's happened here in Singapore. So my first real interaction with the Good Shepherd sisters was at the Good Shepherd Convent School along Kampong Java Road in Singapore. When the school moved to Thompson Road, it was renamed Marymount Convent School. As with all other villages, the sisters were treated with respect and obedience. We feared and avoided those who were disciplinarians. Engagement with the sisters was minimal throughout my days at school. Children were taught never to disagree with adults. Disagreeing with a religious person was quite a taboo, and there was always the fear of going to hell. In the 1990s, I volunteered at the board member of the kindergarten and Marymount Center and started to relate to the sisters. In the early 2000s, I was approached to be the executive director of Marymount Center for 2 years, mainly to restructure the then Marymount Teenage Center. Because of my Good Shepherd upbringing, there was a residue of blind obedience to the sisters, which became an impediment towards discharging my duties as an executive director. It was an emotional struggle for me, as there was a need to institute significant changes to processes for better governance, comply with the new rules and regulations, and allay the fears and concerns of the sisters. The changes made some sisters feel that they were losing influence and control. An invisible barrier between some sisters and I began to form. And the change journey was really rough. On hindsight, I could have done a better job of managing their emotions and psychological fears. Fast forward, through the concerted efforts between the sisters and lay partners in both Malaysia and Singapore, formation in spirituality and regular partnership gatherings, informal get-together with food and laughter, lots of fun, were part of the agenda. Voila. A new beginning, the partners in mission was in place with renewed passion. For the first time, doors were open for partners in mission to attend pre-chapter meetings. We no longer were considered outsiders, but part of the Good Shepherd family. I must say I've had very good relationships with the past and current province leaders and many of the sisters, both in Malaysia and Singapore. We didn't always agree, but we respected each other's opinions. Indeed, the bridge between partners and sisters are firm in building trust and enabling co-responsibility. With open conversation and mutual trust, the partners and sisters are now more fully engaged with each other, sharing the same Good Shepherd mission and aspirations. Thanks be to God.
Cecilia, I have no words. I'm so inspired to hear your precious moments of struggles and joys. It's been such a lovely story. I just want to go on listening to you because there is so much richness and power in what you're speaking, Cecilia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you feeling?
Good. I'm so happy to see that the Good Shepherd sisters here in Singapore and Malaysia has progressed and is doing really well.
Thank you. Thank you. And on that note, dear friends who are here, how do you feel when you listen to the story? Some of you have been part of this story, the characters in her story of Cecilia. So I can see that smile and the nod and the struggle. I was looking at the gallery view to see how it was. It was going on. Lovely. Thank you so much, Cecilia. And I ask you to hold on those thoughts in your heart and keep sharing. I see some beautiful messages coming on the chat. And on that note, I would like us to invite one more voice, and that's none other than Salome. Salome is I would consider Salome is a very brave heart to be speaking today. Welcome, Salome. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Sashi.
Thank you, Salome, for joining us. I know you're being here, and without you, none of these things we are moving forward. However, your voice as a person who has held different positions and capacities in leadership in the province of Singapore, Malaysia, especially now as you lead, we want to hear your partnership journey. And where do you think it's not about the I, but the we? Where are we in this continuum? I would invite your point. I mean, I'm sure it will be very, very interesting for all of us to hear from you, Salome. So over to Salome.
Yeah. Thank you, Shashi, for this opportunity. It's really wonderful to come and share here the process that we went through as individually and as a province. So I take this opportunity, to reflecting on the continuum of on full engagement of partners in mission. I could see myself and our province had gone through the evolving process from minimal engagement and moving towards full engagement. When I joined religious life in the early 80s, all the ministries was carried out by sisters, headed by sisters and lay partners. A few were employed staff. At that time, my perception was only sisters can carry out this ministry. The mission belongs to the sisters, and sisters are responsible for the continuity of mission. With such a mindset, we function very much as owners and the ones who know all about the works of the experts in this field. However, in early 2000, the sisters were talking about diminishment, sisters aging, no vocations, we are dying, etc. As we struggle to keep the mission alive, relevant, and try to revitalize the mission in different ways, but nothing seems to work well. We had to humbly acknowledge that we need to find ways for the continuity of the mission. We had to search together as a province. The Spirit was creating something new, inviting us to be open and dare to take the risk. At our 2003 province chapter, we made a decision that we need to engage mission partners in key positions so that the mission continues. That was the time we employed a lay mission partner in key position in Singapore. And in 2006, Teresa Simmons was employed as the first executive director in Malaysia. Though we agreed to have mission partners to collaborate in mission, it was a challenging period both for lay and sisters who went through so much of struggles and tensions. Sisters felt the layperson does not have the charism, have not gone through the formation like us, don't know the mission well enough. And why must sisters be accountable to a layperson and not to the local leader? Sisters felt insecure and some went through vocation crisis. Am I needed in the mission still? On the part of the mission partners, they could not understand why the sisters are not cooperating and collaborating, even though we have taken the vows to give ourselves to the mission. There was much pain for sisters because sisters felt their presence was diminishing, especially when we were in control for so many years, or even think that only sisters can do the mission. At times, the layperson was seen as a threat because they were thinking out of the box and bringing new energy to the mission. I must say the province leadership team stood by the mandate given to them to support mission partners for mutual collaboration and participation, and to take co-responsibility for the mission. There were times when the PLT had to have conversation with sisters and be bridge builders to enable mutual collaboration between the sisters and mission partners. The annual partnership gathering was another way of strengthening partnership and formation for sisters and mission partners. As I reflect on these experiences of engaging mission partners, it was not because there was no vocations or sisters aging. The Spirit was truly leading us in shaping the mission to remain relevant and effective. The mission partners brought in different skill sets, expertise, and professionalism, which was very much needed in the mission. We recognize their gifts and the richness of their contribution to the mission. They have the mission at heart and want to give their best to collaborate and serve those on the mission, on the margins. I am convinced that the God who called me to this mission is the same God who called them into this mission with a different lifestyle. They are committed, dedicated, zealous in the mission. They are blessed with the charism and the spirit of the Good Shepherd. With their experiences in the corporate world, they bring in the aspects of professionalism and integrate with Good Shepherd spirituality into the mission. Today, the mission has grown, developed because of the strength of our partnership and co-responsibility for mission. As a religious, I must say that the presence of mission partners did not diminish the quality of religious life. In fact, their presence challenged us to live life as a religious in a more authentic way. For example, when they go an extra mile, give generously without counting the cost in the mission, or could even get better salary out there, that inspires me to reflect on how I live this mission in relation to the religious vows I have made. On the other hand, we too reflect to them the charism, the values of the Good Shepherd by our presence. Mission partners also recognize and are grateful for our contribution in the continuity of the mission till today. So we mutually enrich each other, allow the Spirit to shape our lives to be faithful stewards in the mission. I would like to share one concrete example of how mission partners brought new energy into the mission. Some years ago, the topic of human trafficking was spoken about, We attended many training sessions, and yet we were not prepared to take up this ministry. One day there was a loud knock on the door of our hearts when a group of Myanmar migrant ladies were trafficked, and we were asked to shelter them. We gave all good reasons why we were not prepared to do the ministry. Gloria Bond, our zealous mission partner, challenged us to respond. That was the beginning of our work with human trafficking, where we are now have activities from grassroots levels to working with government agencies for systemic change. The ministries have evolved and many mission partners are in key positions, decision-making roles, and board of directors. Today, we work in collaboration and strengthen our partnership, having conversations and dialogues, listening, and mutually empowering each other for the effectiveness, sustainability, and continuity of the mission. It took us many years to get to this stage. It was not an easy journey. The gatekeepers are the sisters, and we encourage openness to be led by the Spirit so that the Good Shepherd mission can continue to live beyond us. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you
Over
so
to you, Sashi.
much. Thanks, Salome. Thank you so much, Salome, for sharing your vulnerabilities
welcome.
and giving us the action confidence for shift. I invite all of us to also shift in our seats a little and be comfortable. I know sometimes sitting on the same seat when things are a little tough for our hearts can be difficult. I don't want you to run away from the meeting, but make yourself comfortable and think and chew over what Salome has spoken. Salome, the shift is challenging for many of us, but your experience has shown the torch for us to hold the space and wait for the newness to emerge. Thanks, Salome. Thank you so much. On that note, let's hear some joyous voices, because everything is for the mission. Joyous voices, where from? Okay, let me tell you that we are a few of us who are delighted to be traveling on a journey right from mid-September. And we are the ones who are traveling for the chapter. Unfortunately, I don't see Jason here in our midst, but can I just quickly ask a few voices? Frieza, Gendry, Paula, are you here? Can you share?
Yes.
Can we have one line from you about what is it that you're so excited about as you prepare yourself for the forthcoming chapter journey? One line. I'm sure it will give us a lot of encouragement and motivation to hear you. I know I put you on the spot by asking you so quickly, but Teresa, can you share?
Yes, thank you, Sashi. I'm really excited to be part of the chapter and to envision what's new that's coming for the for the congregation, and I hope to be very much a part of the newness.
Thanks, Teresa. Thank you. And how about you, Gendry? How about you?
Yes, like Teresa, I'm also very excited and I feel very privileged to be able to attend the chapter. It feels to me like it's a bit of a watershed chapter for the congregation. There are lots of new things brewing. It feels like we are on the brink of something new. And having participated in the ICAs and the local Australia, New Zealand conversations with sisters and lay partners, I think I've got a really good sense of what some of the key themes are that we all want to share. So hopefully I will be a worthy representative of those ideas and bring them forward to the chapter.
Thanks, Gendry. And how about you, Paula?
Oh, thank you, Sashi. I was really humbled to have been invited to be a guest at the chapter. And I just know it's a really precious moment of transformation with Good Shepherd. So I just want to say thank you so much for trusting me to share the responsibility for the Good Shepherd mission in this emerging future. So thank you. I'm very excited.
Oh, you know what? I'm also so excited. So I really feel that, you know, you, me, we can work together. And there is so much more we can do for the voices which are unheard. Thank you so much. Thanks for trusting us. And I'm sure Jason, if he were here, would also share some beautiful thoughts, and we miss him here. I know that some of us are wanting to express. We will definitely listen to your voices while we continue to examine where am I in this continuum and where are we in this continuum. So on this note, it's interesting. Are we at this space? Where am I on this continuum? There will be a link to this Mentimeter, which is posted here. Thank you. I think the link is posted. Where am I in the continuum of full engagement of partners, the current reality? Where am I? Kindly access and share your click where your heart is leading. Thank you. And this is the response. Some beautiful, lovely, honest responses. Thank you so much. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. On a personal note, it really is very heartwarming to see where a person is actually able to feel free in this space and share and say, yes, I'm really not fully involved. I don't know where I am. Thank you. We have received about 63 responses, but that gives us a good idea that here, as it is, we are still in the stage of full commitment, but transitioning to full engagement is still a challenge in our minds. Thank you. Thank you. And so, at this stage, I want us to just understand that these are some beautiful recommendations from the document on Zeal calls us to respond. Address blocks and resistance. Develop a global congregational culture that embodies mission and values. Yes, some of us are at different starting points. Be courageous and honest to question the traditions and norms that no longer serve us. Capacity building of leaders, formators, and partners in mission. Yes, that's a lovely recommendation. This recommendation is very powerful for us to restructure the ways we implement chapter directions and other recommendations using a regional approach. Keep these recommendations in mind. The image of these recommendations will be posted on the chat box for you to keep thinking about it as we move to the next part of the session. Improve communication methods and structures to promote transparency, inclusion, and accountability. When we are desirous of a shift, we all are looking for ways in which we can do it. And address passive non-cooperation. That calls for real courage. And above all, use inclusive language. I think the richness of this document is really can be held very close to us as we help that to shape our intent and move us to action. Action confidence, really. Coupled with a lot of some inner work, I'm sure we can go into ourselves and recognize what needs to be done so that partnership is mission-centric. We hope we can discern some practical steps. I invite you to pause and Journal as you think what needs to shift. Which one of these recommendations can I act upon? Can we act upon together? Teresa will lead us to examining how we can address the space where the shift needs to take place.
Thanks, Sashi. I will very quickly go into the next session. And the next part that I will be sharing on is on formation. And I would like to thank everyone for, for being with us still in this space. And let's look at the next enabler on formation. I've just done very quickly some statistics of our participation at the Asia Pacific webinars, starting from our first position paper on migration, right up to integral ecology on spirituality. As you can see, we started off with less than 100 people in the first four sessions, and then word must have gone out that it was an interesting session done by Winifred, and I did the application, and we see the numbers slowly climbing from the girl child in by Winifred, and then to the application, and it peaked at this paper on prostitution. And I want to share that at this point, it's not so much people were interested in the webinar, but we were all practicing for the Asia Pacific Assembly. And so we benefited from more people coming to be part of the session because of the AP Assembly and to practice their skills in Zoom. So, the Lord works in strange ways. And since then, we've had quite good participation at all our different gatherings and conversations. Just a highlight, I did a very quick evaluation of the numbers that came and the composition of the numbers. And almost 70 to 80% of the people who attended all the sessions were similar throughout the 14 sessions that we had. And roughly, just very roughly, it started with very few lay people being part of these sessions. And towards the end, we had a bit more, but still the majority, almost 70 to 80% of the participants were Good Shepherd sisters. So this is what we're looking at in terms of data on the webinar. I'd just like to introduce this to you. This is our Good Shepherd Asia Pacific YouTube channel. We've got 45 videos in this channel, and they are all based on the position papers that we had, including plus LGBTQ plus issues, integral ecology, all our sessions, the rights-based approach, the IDG, International Day of the Girl Child 2020, the CSW 65 sessions, the launch on the girl rights research. So I encourage all of us to actually enter into this webinars that we have here to use them as materials for formation. And then we also have and still have on the website, this 2020 pre-assembly pack and our new website on towards integration. And at this point, I just like to share that we can never say as Good Shepherd that we lack formation materials. We can never say that. I have a colleague who joined us, Veronica, and in the initial months that we were together, she said, I've never entered an organization that spends so much time on capacity development of its members. So here we have different things happening, like we have personal enrichment sessions. Most of people who are members of the congregation would have actually done personality tests, your MBTIs, your Enneagrams, and there are retreats, there are talks by Brother Pinto, the chapter processes, we've got congregation formation materials, position papers, church materials, tertiary education, professional development, mission enrichment sessions. What else can we ask for? And yet, when we talk about formation, we need to enlarge our purview of formation, and we need to ask ourselves, what is it that is about formation? And I want to bring us to this next slide, where we look at formation and we engage the individuals. And I've put a male figure here as well, because in today's terms, our mission partners are both female and male. So we've got our people here, and then we have individual approach to formation. We also have the community approach to formation. And when we do this, hopefully, we end up with mission effectiveness. That's our primary focus and our primary move. But we all know, each one of us here, 144 of us at the moment, we all know that whatever formation that we do, the most important component of formation is actually the individual person. We can send the person for the best tertiary education and they can still come back and not do anything. Or we can employ the best lay partner and yet it doesn't translate into mission effectiveness. So today, I'm just going to bring us through very quickly on the 4 quadrants of change. You would have heard this before, but I think it's good to bring this back when we speak about formation. So the first quadrant we look at is I won't go in depth as to where it is because we all know. The first quadrant is the internal individual. And these are some of the questions that we ask ourselves. Where am I in the process of change as individuals, not as individuals? Am I convinced about the change? What is happening within me in my area of responsibility? Is there congruence in my thinking and my feeling? Is there resistance within me? And this resistance is really critical, really critical. And in the last spirituality session that we had, someone gave a reflection on resistance and it was shared with everyone. How am I sharing space with partners in mission and vice versa? Because now we have to ask those units that are very strong in partnership, how are we sharing space with sisters as well? So it's both sides, you know. And this next slide I'm going to share gives you an idea of what to do, you know. So in quadrant 1, it's about spiritual and the psychological aspects, and it's concerned with changing one's own sense of identity. So the broad change theory we are looking at here is all about a question of individual perceptions and capacity. So for those of us who are in charge of capacity development and formation, the focus in quadrant 1 is deepening our self-awareness, developing knowledge, skills, and competencies, and describing one's assumptions, values, mindsets, and beliefs. So what can you do in your methodology to enhance the first quadrant? Meditation and contemplation, personal reflection and inquiry, personal development through sessions, reading, mentorship, coaching, etc. So these are all related to quadrant 1. Let's move on to quadrant 2. We know that quadrant 2 talks about our behavior patterns, the external that we see. And this is so important because this is where mission effectiveness comes in. And the questions we ask ourselves, do I have the skills in my area of responsibility? What are the skills that I need the most? What training will I need to lead the process of change? What do I need to relearn? And I'd like to add here, what do I need to unlearn? So these are behavior patterns that we see coming out from the individual. And if we look at this second quadrant, it's all about interpersonal, concern with changing one's own behaviors in the interaction with others. So the focus here is, how do we interact as individuals? How do we show trust, respect, and mutual understanding? Shifting in our behaviors to demonstrate interdependence. That means we are looking at an ecosystem. We are moving from our egos to an ecosystem, reaching conciliation and of interpersonal differences. And here also is about our skills and how we work in our mission. And the methods for doing this, for those of us who are in formation and capacity development, is diversity of training, learning journeys into each other's worlds, and the integrated approach to mission effectiveness. In the back pages, we have sensing journeys, we have journaling, we have dialogue walks to help us out with this. Meditation and negotiations training, mediation and negotiations training. These are just some of the methods. Now we look at quadrant 3, which is the external collective external, okay? The collective internal, and we ask ourselves, what are the current realities that we have in our communities and in our workplaces? Where are they with regards to the restructure and the transition? What will it take for communities and workplaces to make the mindset shifts? What will it look like of communities and workplaces that are relating well? How will safe spaces be created for the transition to happen? If you notice here, I've included workplaces because workplaces are very important. Sometimes we place an emphasis on the communities, but when we come to our workplaces, we become very functional, and it's all about what time did you come into work? How did we do this? How did we do that? But in the collective internal, even amongst people who work, in the mission, how are we cultivating shared stories, shared mission, a sense of belonging? Because when we belong, our performance is better. And we look at this space here. The question is about collective values and beliefs. So the focus is about collective goals and aspirations, underlying values and beliefs, discourse, our language, shared stories, culture, and symbols. And methods, collective goal setting, strategy creation, group encounters, retreats. You heard about partnership gatherings, etc., developing value statements, and how to do it. Now we come to the last quadrant. This is the external collective, and this is what the world sees of us. If we get this right, this means that this is where the world sees our mission, no? Because it's our external behavior as an organization, as Good Shepherd. So we need to ask ourselves, to make the external behavior happen, what are the changes that need to be done to the province, ministry, governance structures to enable the full implementation of the province direction statements, your province direction statements and our province direction statements, and the strategic plans, and what new policies and practices need to be in place. And more importantly, for every one of us here, how do we implement the future congregational direction statement? And I want to shift your thinking to an ecosystem, no longer just looking at ourselves in our provinces, but what do we take with us when we go for the congregational chapter? And in this part, it's about structures and systems, it's about processes and institution. And the Good Shepherd itself is an institution. And we are looking at policies, legislations, organizational design, workflows, etc., etc. I'm going to stop here. Because I think there's enough input. And I want to ask Josita to share with us as the congregational link for formation. What is the direction of formation in today's terms? What does it call in terms of formation of religious, formation of lay people, and how important it is when we look at the future of the congregation that's evolving? And just to share for everyone, mission effectiveness cannot be effective if formation, which is a critical enabler, is not done in an evolving manner that relates to the realities of today. So Josita, I'm going to stop sharing screen. Josita, I invite you to share with us where you are at this point.
Thank you, Teresa. And I'm very happy to be with you today. Such a wonderful group of mission partners. So as Teresa said, I have been invited today to talk about the shifts that are taking place in formation, with particular focus on formation for sisters. So let me start with a little experience of my own formation journey as a novice. It is significant because it took place at the very initial stages of my formation, and the memory of how we were prepared to encounter and to be with those at the margins. So one Christmas, we were all called by our novice directress and asked that we create something with our little talents to share when we visited the neighborhood. So some of us were talented, some of us were not talented so much with our hands. So anyway, all of us gathered together and we did whatever we could. And it was such a great joy. And this memory just stays in my heart because it was a transformative experience for me and for us as a community. As we discovered our own special gifts and how we could share it for the common good and how we needed one another in order to create something beautiful to bring joy to others. So it also was transformative because it made me deeply aware of our shared humanity. The brokenness present among us, yet the transformative power of love. As we shared our gifts, as we received smiles from those who received our gifts. So we are many, we are different, yet we share our common humanity, and that unites us. So as I talk about formation for religious life is about being present in the world in a particular and meaningful way, to find God in the here and now. It is not about personal holiness. It is not a higher or greater or better calling. Formation for religious life is not for the sake of religious life. Rather, formation for religious life is for the sake of mission. Mission is the center of religious life. And for us as good shepherds, the Good Shepherd mission is the center of our religious life. So what is the shift that is taking place? Our lifestyle as religious frees and enables us to be at the service of mission. All of us know before Vatican II, there was great emphasis on the monastic way of religious life. And the emphasis was on personal holiness, to do the right thing at the right time in the right way. That was the emphasis that was put. This way of thinking really came from our understanding of God, who God is. The belief was that God was out there. God was in control of everything. Our worldview shaped this understanding of God. God was like a king who was in control. It was a hierarchical system. And people were put in different levels of influence and power. And thus, religious too, we called ourselves a privileged. We thought it was a higher state. So we remained secluded within our four walls, expecting people to come to us for help and support. And we knew what they needed. We knew how best to respond. It was a top-down relationship, not one of mutuality and co-creation. But today, as we listen and learn more about our origins, we are gradually embracing a new understanding of God. God who is one with us, God incarnate. We are part of an evolving universe that is energized by the love energy of God. This understanding of God is inviting us to embrace the shift in formation in a very conscious and committed way. We are called to move to the peripheries. We are called to create communities, not only within us as religious, but with our own lay partners. We are called to move beyond our comfort zones, to experience the other face of God. Pope Francis beautifully said it, be shepherds with the smell of your sheep in the midst of your people, like the Good Shepherd. So we are really challenged to make a shift in the way we form ourselves, because each one of us are responsible for our continuous formation. And our congregational direction of 2015 also says there is a need of great emphasis on engaging with the world, encounter with others, and passion for justice. In the recent years, there have been many questions arising in our different meetings. You would have heard this. As we shift from formation for religious life to formation for and in mission. The question has been, what about religious life? Are we losing the meaning of religious life? Are we losing our identity as religious? These are questions that are surfacing, and questions are always good to help us move beyond, to look at something where we are invited to create something new. So from my own lived experience and my own journey, I know the resistances I had when these shifts were taking place. And as I became more conscious and more committed to my own continuous formation, I would say this emphasis on formation for mission has enhanced my calling as a Good Shepherd sister. It has given me enough freedom to move beyond my own self, to look at mission that is greater than who we are, and to consciously be aware of the call to incarnate the power and presence of God wherever I am. Every vocation, religious, married, or single, is a call to be the best of what each one of us are called to be. To co-create with God a world of justice and peace. It is through our particular way of life that we respond to mission. This is the call of formation. Formation that has mission, Good Shepherd mission at the center. Formation that takes place within communities. Formation that takes place in our relationship with our lay mission partners. Formation that takes place in the margins. Are we open to this shift? And from today's session, the first part, I have been very moved, and the Spirit is really powerfully in our midst, urging us to open our hearts and minds and wills to one another, to look at mission in a new way, to look at the challenges that we are faced with. As sisters and lay partners, how are we called to respond to mission through our particular way of life? Each one of us has the mission in our hearts, and it is the mission that has brought us here together. As a congregation, we are in a very special time. As we prepare for the congregational chapter, we are called to dive into the deep. And the deep is not a comfortable place to be in. The deep is a very disturbing, very challenging place to be in. We lose our breath sometimes, but we are called to move there and to challenge ourselves to move beyond ourselves for the good of the mission. So let us ask ourselves some questions that will help us to challenge ourselves to embrace the new that God is inviting us to. How do we embrace one another in our uniqueness? We each have our special gift to offer. Each of us, whether lay or sister, we have the mission at heart. Each is needed for the mission. We need to admit the realities that we are living in today. The mission is growing. The newer members entering religious life is decreasing. the global reality of today challenges us and calls us to respond with courage. What pathways are we called to create? How are we called to embrace full engagement of lay partners? What shifts are we called to make towards this? Each one of us are called to make some mind shifts in order to move into this new future. Another question that I would like to ask is formation for sisters preparing us to take up leadership and share leadership spaces with our lay partners to ensure Good Shepherd mission is effective and relevant for today? Do we give importance to the capacity building of both sisters and lay partners? The 30th Congregational Direction Statement called us to invest resources in holistic formation and capacity building to all involved in mission. So this includes both sisters and lay partners. Are we open to this? To all of us present here, sisters and lay partners, I encourage that we continue to grow in our passion for Good Shepherd mission. Let us be willing to question and challenge ourselves and one another to move beyond our own comfort zones so as to make Good Shepherd mission relevant for today through our particular way of life. May we together journey as we strive to be the presence of the Good Shepherd. Let me end by quoting our Constitution's 55. The vitality of the mission is largely determined by the quality of formation. Let us commit to our continuous formation, keeping mission at the heart of formation. Let's have the courage to create the future together. Ubuntu. I am because we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josita. Thank you for your sharing on formation and for challenging us and leading us into a different way of thinking. And thank you for those insights. We will now enter into breakout rooms. You see, we are aware that it's a little bit late for some. Those who can stay back, we would like you to be able to also reflect to each other how this session has been, what you're hearing today, and especially from the 4 quarters and the recommendations, what next steps for me and us to move forward on the continuum of full engagement of partners in mission.
All of us shared our reflection of listening to different resource persons of today, especially Teresa and there are many who shared. It was really very challenging, like a spark. We also have to add something to develop this mission partners.
Correct. That's so true. No, nice. I'm so glad that we could actually speak about, you know what, you seem to be doing this. Let me do something the way you are doing. Yes, I can see there are voices who want to say, you know what, I want to share what we spoke about. Okay, so I can see some raised hands here. Yes, Sister Ellen, go ahead. Can we hear you?
We are only 2. Sister Alice, so apostolic and contemplative. And it was really a very enriching sharing because we are starting already in our province. But you know, before it was Sister Regina Till during her time that she said that the Philippines will really take time because we are still many. But now we are only the few. We are starting already. It may be not a good reason, but it really pushed us. So we have already joined formation program with our lay, but really full engagement. We are on the way because now the sisters are open. even in our contemplatives, we already tried using. It's good that it can be already using the Zoom, and then evening prayer using the computer, and in with our lay, and then the sharing also. So, but it will not be like the apostolic. So maybe sister, because Sister Alice shared also very enriching one. Thank you for Jusita, for Teresa, and Salome, and all the speakers, including you, Sashi. It was really, I didn't, this morning we will be having community goals, and it's about lay partnership. And this is a very good input for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I too deem this as a beautiful formation session by itself for us. So thanks. Don't you agree? I can see some nods saying, yes, this is really formation, joint formation, rubbing, sitting on the same space next to each other and learning together. Yes, indeed, indeed. Yes, anybody else? I would want to give you the opportunity of sharing your thoughts, because sometimes this is a very disturbing moment. We do not want you to put your thoughts on a Google form and then feel uncomfortable, because I know that this itself is to some point, it is an uncomfortable space. So if you are happy to speak about something which will move the group, we are happy to listen to you. Would anybody else like to share? Just one or two more voices?
Sashi ji, can I go? Veronica here.
Yes, Veronica, go ahead, Veronica.
I think the 2 hours is not enough. This is such an inspiring topic. And you know what? All of the presenters today, y'all are rocking star. Y'all really inspired and moved us. So all the best to everyone. And I really enjoyed the session. Wish the breakout group, we had more time actually. Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. We really would like to go on finding out how to do things differently and learning from each other, isn't it? I agree with you, Veronica. Yes, Antonia, my friend, I'm so delighted to see you. I was looking for you. I'm so excited to see you. How are you?
I'm so delighted to see you too. And today, I just said in our breakout group that when I came back from the partnership gatherings in 2008 and 2010, I was on fire. And I felt that fire kindled a little bit more today from seeing you and seeing everybody else across the region. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. And when we look today, the 3 presenters were all lay mission partners. So that speaks volumes, in our endeavors to come together. And just one thing for us, though, it's still one obstacle is language. Sessions like this cannot be made available to our mission partners because of language. And we shared in our group in Indonesia, the same as well too. So that's an obstacle for us. But really today was a match to the fire. So thank you to everybody. It was really, I felt really inspired again. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we are running a little late, and I'm very conscious that we have long days ahead for all of us. So if there is any one last voice, and in the meanwhile,
Sashi, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm mute. I've just posted a link to a Mentimeter to request you to share your thought on where do you think our unit has to concentrate on, which quadrant requires more attention. Yes, so you can feel free, you can share your thoughts on the chat box, and in the meanwhile, do share your thoughts on the Mentimeter. It's just to get the pulse of the whole group to know, are we on the same page? Oh yes, our unit, I do believe this is, so your voice matters. So do go ahead and share that. Here it is. This is the link to the Mentimeter. And in the meanwhile, if there is one last voice, I'm happy to hear that before I hand it over to Jenry to conclude. Anybody else? Because I wouldn't want you to say, oh, you know, my heart was throbbing to say something and it was not, I didn't get an opportunity. Okay, so gone. Over to Teresa to take us to express what is the next way forward, and then Gendry will wrap it up. Right?
Thank you, Sashi. Thank you so much. So what's next for us? We have all done this in our individual units. We just encourage everyone to continue doing this because we said this project will last till December. And so at the end, we will come back again in January to share our stories of integral ecology using the integrated approach to mission effectiveness. So just take note of the date, 27th January next year. So that will give us 26 days to put our sharing together. And then we will come back at 11 a.m. Malaysian time. So that's 27th January, 11 a.m. Malaysian time. Over to you, Gendry.
Oh, thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa. What an inspiring session. And I really can see and feel in the group that people would love to go on, but it is time for us to finish our time together for now. But let's hope the conversation continues. There's no need to stop speaking. Please continue the conversation in your units, in your communities, in your workplaces, and keep the inspiration going. And so just as we started with a parable and a celebration of Ubuntu, we are going to finish with another celebration. The Ubuntu, the main word that came through the Ubuntu in the chat room was together. And so we're going to end our session today with an excerpt from the Euphrasia, the musical, the song Together. Thank you so much for participating, everybody. It's been a wonderful conversation, very inspiring, and look how far we've come. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Teresa.
Bye-bye.